Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. This video is going to be one of the main reasons I was able to retire early, and it is because of the Monte Cristo test, not the Monte Carlo test. So first, you don't know the Count of Monte Cristo? Read. Alexander Dumas wrote the book, The Count of Monte Cristo. And I'm going to use the Monte Cristo test to tell you why I was able to retire early. I want you to understand why it's not the Monte Carlo. If you invest in stocks, a lot of people will use the Monte Carlo test to see if their retirement is going to work out. For a long time, it was standard retirement calculators, but in the last 10 to 15 years, people switched to the Monte Carlo test. And this is basically an RNG way of looking at your retirement. And if there's any gamers out there, are you going to let RNG dictate whether you can retire or not? Because the Monte Cristo is even worse. So with the Monte Carlo, basically, it runs several, at least 1,000 simulations to see a prediction of the level, the percentage chance of success with your retirement. Now, yes, the Monte Carlo test can be done with all kinds of different things, not just retirement, but when it's used for retirement, basically we put in data, we put in the variables, and then it kicks out a number of you have X% chance of being able to retire with that, with a level of success and not running out of money, right? You don't want to run out of money before you run out of life. So the Monte Carlo will input the data, and here's a couple of the risks with it. You're putting in the data yourself, right? So there's confirmation bias that might trip you into massaging the numbers to come up with something that hits you a little better, works out for you a little better. Can you resist the temptation to do that? Also, can you resist the temptation to not be overly optimistic or overly pessimistic, right? If you put in the numbers too low, too conservative, you're working for years or decades longer than you need to achieve an amount of money that you're never going to be able to spend. And yes, you can give it to your kids or a charity, and then they're just going to spend it. Is that the purpose of your life? There's different versions with the Monte Carlo test. I mean, first of all, there's the different graphs that they can use, right? You can use a standard deviation chart. You can use a bell curve. You can look at it all different ways. And if you're using stocks, you're probably going to go to a financial advisor, and you might want to ask them which format they're using and which data that they're putting in, because you have to figure a few things with this simulation. You're looking at, most people focus on how much do I need to invest? Right, but then what are the future tax implications? Here's one of the biggest things that people will trip up with the Monte Carlo. What's your projected rate of return? This is one where you can estimate too low or too high and trap yourself into working too many years, or trick yourself into retiring so that you have to go back to work later, which is the ultimate failure. Then you have to think of asset allocation, right? How much of your retirement is in a retirement account, in index funds, in individual stocks, dividends, right? That's what the Monte Carlo does with stocks. And if you really want a good explanation of this and some examples of it, check out Joe Kuhn here on YouTube. He invested and reached financial freedom by investing in stocks using the bucket method. And he can use the Monte Carlo test he has several videos on explaining it, how if you invest in stocks, you might want to do that. If you invest in real estate or stocks, or you grow a business. There's three main paths to reaching financial freedom. And yes, crypto is probably going to be on that list eventually. It's just not on my list of three. Actually, only one of these strategies was on my list. I do not have the decades to wait for compound interest to impact my investing in stocks. And I didn't make enough money to invest in stocks, right? If you're using the 4% rule, that means to have $40,000 a year, you need to invest $1 million. I invested $320,000 in real estate over a period of 10 years and generates a little over $200,000 in profit every year for me to figure out how to spend. So I needed to do it over a shorter period of time, which is why I chose real estate. And I've tried the entrepreneur route a couple of times, started a couple of businesses, failed with both of them. So I'm not an investor. I'm not an entrepreneur. I am an investor. So the Monte Cristo test to tell me if I could retire or not, it didn't have much to do with the way I reached financial freedom. It could have been a business, it could have been stocks, it could have been real estate, it could have been crypto, it could have been any way of reaching financial freedom, which is more income coming in every month than it costs you to live your life, and you don't have to sell your life 1 hour at a time for that income to come in. So it's through some passive source, like growing a business and getting it big enough for somebody else to run the day-to-day so you have your time back, or investing in stocks and using that 4% rule that I talked about, or investing in real estate with buy and hold real estate, which is the path that I chose. Didn't happen overnight. It definitely wasn't sexy, and it was really boring for about 5 to 10 years. And then retiring after 12 years of investing and never having to work again in my life, and not retiring to be able to do nothing, which is the joke I usually make, but it's retiring with the ability to do anything because of the Monte Cristo test. Not the Monte Carlo, but the Monte Cristo. One of the reasons why I appreciate the shirt from Jeff and Suleika, PTO for Life here on YouTube, you should check them out because they get it. One of the reasons the Monte Cristo story, the book, several of the movies, are my favorite stories is because it is a story of an individual who was wronged by many people in their life, like most of us. We all have that list of people. Have you seen my list around here? It's a Post-it. It says Adam. We have this list of people we want to get revenge on. The Count of Monte Cristo is a story of a person who was wronged and their life fell apart in several different ways. And they became so wealthy that they can dedicate the rest of their life to revenge. They could spend every moment of every day making sure they got their revenge. And his sidekick Jacopo says, hey, wait. That's not how revenge works. I go up for the weekend, stab. I come back down, we spend the money. What's wrong with my plan? But that's not the plan of revenge. In the Count of Monte Cristo, the revenge had to last a lifetime. So I'm going to couple the Count of Monte Cristo with something that my dad said. And yes, Dad, I miss you very much. And based on the jokes I make, I'll see you soon. My dad said some really mean things, some very bad advice, and some every now and then he had a nanosecond of genius, and he said something like, the best revenge is having a good life. So here's my Monte Cristo test. You have probably, like I do, relationships that might not have worked out, employers who told you were never going to amount to anything, teachers who said, the best thing you're going to do is marry a rich person because you're never going to make it on your own, or whatever person in your past judged you, had a negative impact on your life. You have that list of people you would like to get revenge on. The best revenge is having an amazing life. So when it comes to reaching financial freedom, if you can develop passive cash flow that gives you options, because that's what money is. Money coming in that you don't have to work for gives you options: where you live, how you live, when you travel, what you drive. Everything that you do based on those options, right? Because money doesn't bring happiness, but the options can. If you have people, hypothetically, maybe a spouse who left you because you didn't make enough and they don't want to live paycheck to paycheck, just in case that's ever happened to anybody. I've heard that that's possible a few times. What does it mean when your water needs a chaser? And you can reach financial freedom to live the life that person can only dream of, or the life that your teacher could only dream of, or your employer still stuck in the rat race, super proud of that promotion or that ability to be somebody's boss that they have. And you don't care because your life is so good, you can focus on living your best life. That's the ultimate revenge. So I recommend checking out the book by Alexandre Dumas. Read it, listen to it, watch the movies, and learn that lesson that the best revenge is becoming so wealthy that you get the options to get the revenge you want. I chose the revenge of having the best life, traveling wherever I want, helping people when I need to, being able to help other people reach financial freedom, to see how I did it with nothing special, no special secret sauce. I'm actually pretty lazy. And The average person can reach financial freedom in 10 years or less, even if you're not starting from a great position. And yes, the haters that come on and say it's not possible in today's climate, or you're lucky because you're a Gen X, or XYZ reasons why they can't do it. The negative comment that they leave, the hate that they put on my channel, helps my channel grow because YouTube doesn't know if it's a positive or a negative interaction. They just know it was an interaction. So go ahead and leave your hateful comment after the live stream. The purpose of my videos is to help you reach financial freedom. Sometimes it's here's the motivation, here's the reason. Sometimes it's here's the how-to. On Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, like today, hello Futureland if you're watching there, I'm here to answer your questions on reaching financial freedom, making work optional, or just investing to give yourself a better retirement when you eventually get there. I am not a follower of the FIRE movement. Financial independence, retire early. I think the retire early trips up a lot of people. I am the founder of the FINE movement. Financial independence, no excuses. Once you reach financial freedom, you can continue to work. You can go find your passion project. You can be lazy like me and game all day when you're not doing the stupid Burr that's finally over and never going to happen again. I did a 50% Burr. 60% Burr? 60% Burr. And it's the first and last one I'm ever going to do. Thanks for hanging out with me on a Tuesday. I'm going to get to the questions. I see we had a super chat jump in from Sam. Howdy. Just want to thank you and the Lumberjack and Millennium Mike for all that you guys give the rest of us. I can't get enough. Thank you for that. It is much appreciated. If you have a question, Sam, make sure I don't miss it. That reminds me, with Lumberjack Landlord popping into the chat there, that if you are a member of the channel tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, the Lumberjack Landlord is coming to our members-only Zoom meeting, so we'll all be on Zoom together. You can watch on YouTube if you don't want to join Zoom. And we're going to break down Lumberjack's most recent deal. All the numbers, all the details. Just like we would looking at a deal. We're going to start from how to find it, how to fund it, what are the aspects of the property, what are the aspects of the market, how did you determine this was not a deal to pass, and what did your deep dive look like? So if you want to see that, super boring real estate talk into the newest deal from the Lumberjack Landlord, which is not boring to me, that's exciting crap. I'll see you in the members only at 6 o'clock. And thank you, Sam. I appreciate you being here. You should email me and let me know how your investing is going. Jason was first. There you go. You made it. Martin Properties, howdy. I purchased insurance on our duplex as it was when I bought it. Should I be contacting my insurance to inform them of the upgrades done so I get proper rebuild cost replacement? Seems so. That's not something that I do. Have I ever contacted an insurance? I do contact insurance when I put a roof on because that generally lowers your premium. It's not that replacing a roof that's 1 week old or a roof that's 5 years old isn't in a cost difference. It's that the asset is better protected with a newer roof. And I see Wealth Building Journey. A lot of new members in 3, 2, 1. I hope to see you in the members only. The idea is in the members only groups, we do things that here on YouTube would bore people and make them leave the channel. Because remember, if you hate my content, if it just bothers you that an average person says, hey, look, I was in a pretty bad position, and here's the 20-second or less version. Made it to 40 without ever having $1,000 in the bank. Got divorced, found out about $89,000 in bad debt in my name I didn't know existed until the divorce. Single parent with 3 kids, got laid off from law enforcement and started teaching at a CDL school making $17 an hour. I was laid off because of the 2008 housing crash. If your position is worse than that, I can only imagine it's because of a health concern. It's the only thing I think I was missing. Mental health? Not there at all. But yes, didn't have a health concern. It is possible. And if you hate my content because somebody like me is telling you that it's possible, hit the dislike button. Even hitting it only once helps promote my channel because it's an interaction. Leaving a comment telling me how much you don't like me and that all my hair fell out. Great. I might be short, fat, and bald, but I look really good standing on my wallet. Leave the hate comment because it helps me too. So Martin Properties, no, I generally don't contact and raise. What I do is I watch the appreciation of the property and then the cost to rebuild, right? It's not so much the materials and the upgrades that I've done that makes it worth more money. It's the appreciation over the last, you've had it think 6 months now. You're maybe a little more now coming up on. By the end of this year, watch what appreciation is. And if that's made a significant difference, and look at building costs, right? Watch The Uneducated Economist and watch what's happening with wood. And if costs go up a lot, maybe contact your insurance and say, hey, I would like to look at raising the premium. But here's a problem that you could run into, which is this is a problem I have because I'm a minority mindset. And this is from Ricky Gervais. People talk about being a minority and how bad of a problem it is. Imagine being a middle-aged multimillionaire in the United States. That makes you less than 1% of the population. It's the ultimate minority to be a part of. It's terrible. I've had insurance companies cancel my policy on my fourplex, and I had to go through about 5 different companies to find one that would approve it today. And here's the problem that I have that you could eventually one day have. I hope everybody here has this. I didn't know this was a thing. Insurance companies said, we can no longer insure your property because it is valued too high for us to insure. Not, oh, we're going to need to raise your premium, which it did. And it went from like, I think it was 9 something a year. Now it's 30, 37 got canceled, 3,500 a year. Significant increase. And people are like, oh, that's so much, 900 to 3,500. It's gone up, what, 400% almost? Which sounds like a lot. So yeah, it's a couple $100 a month. It's a fourplex though, and each unit's rent went up over $400 a month. So due to the math of time, I'm okay with insurance costing more. So your insurance might cost more in the future in Martin Properties, but it's going to be because the property's worth more because of appreciation. Now, if you did something where you added a bedroom or you added a bathroom, you added square footage for living space or a new outbuilding like a garage or something, yeah, maybe you contact then and increase your premium, increase your coverage, not your premium. Probably increase your premium too, but not from, I wouldn't do it if I put in countertops and cabinets and all of that stuff. It's not a big enough expense change. Old Guy REI, howdy. Howdy, Frank. Dividend Dave. Chandler on fire. I haven't seen Dividend Dave in a while. The Monte Cristo test is used in baking to see just how much Cristo you need in order to make delicious crispy chicken. And if you're now living in Louisiana, you're probably eating the crispy chicken. Down there is a place called Dion's Quick Chick. You should check it out. Wayne, howdy. Good to see you here. Thank you for congratulating me on my Burr being done. Jack, good to see you here. Let's see if we get questions here. Jack, it's never too early to hit the like button, even if the video hasn't started. If you don't have faith in Dion, hit the dislike button twice. There you go. Thank you. John, howdy. Good to see you here. Ninja Vanish. Hope to see you in the members live tonight at 6 if you're there. Jack, what's the graph on the thumbnail supposed to represent? It is a distribution curve. And there's different versions of it. I just figured that if people invest in stocks and they've ever seen a Monte Carlo study, they've seen an image like that. That's what's there. And then I crossed out Carlo and wrote in Cristo because Monte Cristo in my shirt that makes me look as fat as I am. I generally only wear loose, baggy clothes because I'm a fat kid. Michelle, howdy. Good to see you here. Jack Stewart, yes, I just put a couple of videos. Remodeling is my life. I saw your remodel, Frank, on your bathroom. It's looking really good. My brother had me. Do I have any pictures of that? I do. My brother heard that Frank came up here and tiled my shower with me and taught me like 2 tricks of 5,000 that it takes to know how to tile a bathroom. So my brother said, come tile mine. And I went and tiled his. Spent 3 days at his house because I don't have that skill yet, but it was great to be able to practice on his stuff. And it's nice being financially free to where when your brother calls and says, hey, because every now and then he calls and says, let's go to Portugal for a couple of months, or let's go to Thailand for a month. Those are fine calls too. David, if you're watching this, my phone's, I hear my Burr's over, so why are we here? But I got to tile his shower at one of his rentals. And I'm stunned that it actually came out okay. It's Old Guy REI. You can actually just click right on the name right here, I think, and it'll take you right to his channel. Loco. Delicious chicken. Jack Stewart, let that show begin. Angel R, howdy. PE turned RE, how's it going? Is that the story where there's someone with six figures and they have to throw a ring in a furnace? No. Six fingers? No. Beautiful combination of stories there, though. I like it. Yes, wealth building journey, RNG, random number generator. Every gamer is familiar. Wombat Striker. Howdy, haven't seen you in a minute. Listen to the book because of you during a long drive. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. Nice. Yes, the book, I liked the ending of better than the Disneyfied Henry Cavill version. Henry Cavill was a teenager in the book. I just associate him with it. Jada, howdy. I'm at 22,000 saved for down payment, but no reserve. My budget is 300,000. Should I wait to save up that 10 reserve before I put in offers? So everyone's position is different, and I'm a little risk averse. I kind of like having reserves. Jada, it would be how many? So save for down payment, but no reserves. Is it your first rental? Or is it your fifth rental, right? If it's your first rental, I would want reserves. Your lenders are going to require reserves. But if it's your fifth rental, here's what I did on my fifth rental. Weird how math works. I went down to like $200 in my account, but I had money in a retirement account, and 50% of that counted as a reserve. I had untapped credit cards, so I had money in reserve. I had a paid off single family house I could have taken a HELOC out on. I had a lot of options to generate cash. I don't recommend doing that on your first, second, third, maybe even fourth rental, because how confident are you in your ability to get the return you're expecting? What is the expected timeline, and can you double or triple that and still end up okay? Right. So where are you in the chronology of your investing? To me, kind of increases the amount of risk I'm willing to take with reserves. And what are my other options? I would not take out 3 HELOCs on rental properties and then think, okay, now I don't ever need reserves, because the economic event that could cause you to tap those HELOCs could be the economic event that causes the lenders to close those HELOCs. Then where are we, Skippy? But 50% of a retirement account, I was willing to yank out if I needed to, which I ended up doing. Paid the taxes, put the money in, move the property, move the money from the retirement account into a triplex, which is cash flowing, even with the stupid insurance increase on that property too. That one went from, was my highest one. Originally it was like $1,300, went to $2,700. So that's a 100 and something percent, 105% increase. But that's the one where a tenant moved out of one of the units. I added a closet, and just the rent on that unit alone went up $995 a month. So I'm okay with costs going up because rents are too. Kent, howdy. Good to see you. Dale, hello. The Yoder, howdy. I'm listening while I finish painting an apartment before May 1st. Every day is one day closer to ditching my W-2. Let's get you there. You've got this. Excited about that. You have to keep us updated. I hope, Yoder, you could do what I did and leave on a high note. Right? There's people like the Michael Zuber from One Rental at a Time that goes to work, plans on working another 5 years, has a bad day at work, and goes in at 8 in the morning, 8:45 in the morning. He's on his way home, texts his wife Olivia, "Hey, I don't work anymore." So he will forever kind of have that bad taste in his mouth. If I quit that place to make a point, versus I was having probably the best day at work that I could have, solved a big, huge problem that had been taking me months. Educating myself how to solve this problem, coordinating with attorneys to solve this problem, resolved it. And in the Zoom meeting where we resolved it, I asked the owners of the company to stay another few minutes and told them, if everyone else left, "Hey, I think I'm retiring today." I left at the top of my game. Basilio, howdy. Thank you for the super chat. It is much appreciated. Just a small token of appreciation. Thank you for everything you do, Dion. You are on my agenda every Tuesday. Thank you for being here. This is kind of the only day that I know what day of the week it is. I have, I don't think she watches my content, so I think I can get away with this. And we're 24 minutes into the video. 24 minutes? Did I really make the intro take that short a time? Because I always shoot for like 10 minutes, but it takes 30. Where's my clock broken? That intro is going to be yanked out and put off as a separate video soon. Because I know that there are people who will not click on a 2-hour video, but I think they should hear about the Monte Cristo test. Um, I have an interview with Dana tomorrow because the last time we went to make videos, I don't know how we got on the subject of topics we were going to talk about. And one of them was, why people should retire early. And she goes, "Oh, I just love my job. I'm the CEO of a company." I think she founded the company. And she just loves it so much. She says, "I'm never going to retire." So tomorrow I'm doing a thought experiment where, since I'm pretty sure she doesn't watch my content, she has not heard of the math of time. She's not heard of the number 19, and she's not heard of the three phases. So I'm going to do a video tomorrow with her. I think it's at 9:45 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. It's in the morning, Pacific. I'm just going to do a live, and it's not going to be recorded. We normally do recorded. It's going to be live. I'm going to explain to her those three options, those three reasons why I retired early, and then see if at the end of those three explanations, does she still plan on working forever? Because I'm curious, because I loved my job too. And I was a bit older than her. I don't know how old she was. She's like in her 30s or something. But I was from 40 to 48, maybe to 50. I think I told everybody I'm going to work until I die. I just love my job. I'd been demoted down to the president of the company. I control my schedule. I started making good money. Um, but those three things, the math of time, the number 19, and the three phases, and making a ridiculous amount of money compared to what I thought I would need, made me retire at 52 after 12 years of investing. Jason, howdy. Oh, and there was no question, Basilio, just checking to make sure I don't miss one. Using Empower for Monte Carlo, my percent went from 75 to 99 from just entering my cash flow from my first property, retiring in 7 years, thanks to you all. That is awesome, Jason. Congratulations. I didn't, because I have no stocks. I had zero. I don't, if I owned a stock or had money in a retirement account, I'd probably still have to work. I've never looked at the Monte Carlo test. For me, there was a math metric, and I've talked about it in my videos. I probably should make a short one for those people that don't click on 2-hour videos. There was the freedom number. How much am I spending by looking at the last 6 months of data? Once cash flow passed that, work was optional. I could change jobs if I needed to. I didn't have to worry about what I was making. Not enough to retire because a downturn, rents going down, um, a recession, massive inflation tends to help you if you own rentals. But a black swan event happening where I would not have enough cash flow. Then I was the multiplier, right? When cash flow for me passed 4 times what I needed, then I was like, okay, money wise, I should be retiring. Those other factors came in after that. Master Coach University. Howdy. My understanding is you don't like value add, but have you added bedrooms to a place to up the rent ROI? If so, how did you square the circle? That is a great colloquialism. I think I know what you mean with square the circle. How did I check the box? So I've done value add. What I don't like to do is rehabs. I don't want until did I ever do cabinets before? I had until this rental, I had never done cabinets before until this Burr that I'm in. I'd help friends who bought properties. My friend that bought the duplex, I helped put cabinets in hers, right? So I've done that kind of stuff, but I just not in any of my rentals. Um, but I've done, oh, I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, for sure, 7 times where I purchased a property that had over 1,000 square feet, was only a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. In 2 cases, it had a den. And yeah, the den had a closet, existing closet, exterior door. It needed an interior wall, and then it became a bedroom. So I turned, by just adding a wall, new bedroom. Have I added? I've added a half bath. I want to add half baths to everyone. No, I want to add a shower. So the 30-quarter, 25% of a bathroom to the fourplex. So it would be 1 3/4. So those value adds I'll do as long as it's not a full rehab. I prefer to buy rent ready, which means it only needs $1,000 or $2,000 worth of minor cosmetic repairs and the normal upgrades that I normally do, or occupied and doesn't hardly need anything. That's my preference. And because I say it's because I'm lazy, but it was because when I was investing, I was working full time, 50 to 60 hours a week. I had 3 kids to raise. I was trying to invest in real estate. So when investing had to be as close to passive as possible. Auto search is not driving for dollars, right? MLS searches through agents, not mailers. Nothing that took actions is passive flow of opportunities. And then when I bought, I didn't want to do rehabs because I was already working full time and already had a full time job. I didn't even want to manage a GC. So that was my preference. And then when I retired, I did not retire to free up time to invest more. Did that sentence make sense? I did not retire to free up time to invest more. I specifically tailored my properties with physical aspects of the property that helps limit tenant turnover, right? I do not buy in good school zones because that means kids. And when kids age out, you have tenants that move. I prefer to rip out showers and bathtubs and put in standing showers only because that usually means less kids. Less kids means less kids aging out and people moving. I prefer washer dryer hookups in the unit because somebody using a washer laundromat or shared laundry is just waiting for a place to open. I like a garage and at least 2 bedrooms because more space means more stuff, less likely to move, right? So I've invested to limit tenant turnover, so I'm not doing a lot of tenant turnovers, which would be more profitable in some cases. Sometimes when a tenant moves out, you get a massive rent increase, market correction, or you can make with those tenants in place, I didn't go into their house, which I've owned since November of 2020. I didn't go in while they were there and say, oh, I'm going to add a closet to this den over here, and now your rent goes up. But when they moved out, I did that. All right, so I'll do value add. It's not my preferred method. Like that property had to cash flow before I added that closet. That's a good question. Dividend Dave, when I invest in real estate, it's sexy because I make offers with my shirt off. You and Millennial Mike both. All nighter, how do you have full and dirty hands? Nice. Yes, well, I've heard a variant of that. Revenge is a life well lived. And then I think I saw Dividend Dave, Kings to you, Frodo. Good blend. I like it. I do have a friend where we do we don't do king, we do pawn piece back and forth. Who has it right now? He must have it. Then I lost where I was at. Wombat Striker, you don't need to invest 1 million. Your investment keeps growing after the initial investment, so less than 1 million invested will become the 1 million. Right, Wombat Striker. And what I didn't have was the years of compound interest. I wanted financial freedom in less than a decade, and I was only making for the first 8 years, I never broke 60,000. That's actually no, the 8th year I made 61,000. I did not have a lot of money to invest. There's no way I would have been able to invest without house hacking, added streams of income from cash flowing rentals. That's how it worked for me. And yes, stocks is absolutely a viable way if you make more money or you have a longer period of time to reach financial freedom than I did, and you're not starting from such a hole that I was in. Freedom works. Howdy. Rob, there's a spider on me crawling on the wall. That would be amazing. Better call me if that's true. Now there's a Dion-shaped hole in the wall over there because Rob knows how I feel about spiders. Probably watched the thing where I went down into the basement with Millennial Mike. I think if there was a spider, there'd be a little more chat of people warning me about that. Now I'm going to stare at the screen and think spiders all day. And we'll get even with you, Rob, if that's not true. Bill O'Connell. So yeah, make sure I think I hate you. You made me realize that I can do much better and retire with much more now that I am not a zoomy worker with no hope of 40 years work with 40% of my income. I love it. John Williams, I didn't realize the members only live was the Lambo House. I'll have to click that join button soon enough. Jason, bought my first property on February 2nd, about 80% saved up for the next one. Is there anything I can do to get approval for a conventional 30 years sooner besides rent proofs? They cost around 500,000. You can check with different lenders. You have the first option always to pursue is can you find seller finance deals? Because that has nothing to do usually with your debt to income ratio. DSCR loans, as long as your credit score is good, that takes out your debt to income ratio. It takes out uh, your salary, takes out a couple of other factors, your credit score, your net worth, and your how the property will perform could be a problem there. You can check with lenders. I usually say, to be conservative, you want 2 years of tax returns so that lenders will recognize your rental income, or 75% of your rental income. There are lenders who will do it with less, right? Some will want on just a year's tax returns. Some will want longer leases, like you have to have more than 3 months remaining on leases. So the idea is always talk to lenders, more than one, and talk to them often because their stuff changes every few weeks. Yeah, Wombat Striker, I agree. I'm very clear every time I talk about reaching financial freedom of the several different paths. Right? The one thing I think I say that some people don't disagree with is I don't think you should start a business, invest in stocks, and buy real estate. You're so diversified, you're not going to master any one of those three. I like the Charlie Munger format of not diversifying to become wealthy, right? We focus on an asset class and master it. Once we become wealthy, then you diversify to protect your wealth. Yep, distribution curve on the thumbnail. Josh, howdy. When you and the REI Avengers talk about finding average, how many deals are we running numbers on in order to figure out average? I don't think there's a number. I think it's a consistent look at your market, right? Because average can change I want to say every couple of months, but it might even be sooner than that, depending on what's going on. If you're investing in a place like Lacey, Washington, and people announce, hey, that Ostrom's mushroom farm lost the lawsuit and has to move to Eastern Washington, prices spike up 30 to 50% in the next 2 years. If you're in a place like Kitsap County, Washington, where the naval base announces another ship is going to be stationed here, and all of a sudden you have a ton of demand for your rentals because service members that are living on post that are married, that don't have kids, are being pushed off to make base housing available for military families that do have kids. Civilian contractors that were on base are being pushed off. This is going to create demand. That demand is going to raise rents is going to increase the amount that investors can pay, so it's going to push up market prices in the area. So for that, you kind of want to know what's going on in the market in that local area, and you're going to constantly be looking. I think it's a matter of 60, and this is right out of One Rental at a Time's book, 60 to 90 days to learn average. Right? For me to do a rent study to know okay, this is what I think a place will rent for with this many bedrooms, this types of amenities, it's going to take at least 2 weeks of looking. It's not a rentometer snapshot. It's go to Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, Zillow, apartments.com, rentometer, get all that data together, track a couple of them, and watch which ones go really fast, which ones disappear and come back significantly higher, and which ones sit for a while and then come down or offer concessions. It takes a couple of weeks to figure that out, but to know the average in an area and then make offers based on, I now know the rents, I know what other properties are going for, 60 to 90 days. So it's time more than numbers. And one of the best things to do when you're very first starting out and you want to learn, okay, how do I develop the skill of learning how to run the numbers? Find a local real estate meetup, right? Here we've got the Tacoma FI. There was Oli REI, but they turned it into Sound RIA. Then there's, whatever ones are around you, multifamily strategies, whichever local group is meeting. Meet some of the investors there and just say, hey, I'm really new to this. I would like to do an exercise. Will you help me? You don't have to share your exact numbers with me, but can I run the numbers on a couple of your properties and you tell me how close I got on what the ROI would be? Because that investor will be the first one to point out, hey, sure, yeah, but you forgot this type of insurance, or there's an HOA, or something that you might not think of when you're learning that skill. Once you learn the skill, then you run it for 60 to 90 days in the market to figure out if that asset class and the strategy you want to do is actually going to work there. There you go, Josh. Kent. So, can credit card accounts count towards the 6 months worth of reserves that the mortgage company requires? No, they will look at 50% of a stock portfolio or a retirement account, but they do not generally look at credit cards because, like I said earlier, the economic event that could make you need to use the credit cards could be the thing that makes the credit companies shut down. Just like HELOCs, lines of credit can disappear, credit cards can disappear. So no, they generally won't look at credit cards, but you can ask, right? It never hurts to ask. Uh, Available credit can raise your credit score by you using a lower credit utilization of the percentage of credit that you can take. But in available credit that's higher can actually affect your debt to income ratio for some lenders. Like, and here's an example, a home equity line of credit. Let's say you can borrow $100,000. That basically impacts your monthly personal debt to income ratio by $1,000 a month, even if you don't take any money out. Because the lender is thinking, so it's kind of the opposite, Kent, of what you're thinking. The lender is thinking, so we lend you this money to buy this rental, and then you max out the HELOC. What would your payment be? Okay. What if you maxed out all your credit cards? What would your payment be? And what's the interest on those, right? So that can kind of negatively impact your debt to income ratio. Ike, howdy. First time to see this live. Usually listen to the replay while working on my properties. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Glad you could make it here. Let me know if you have any questions. Jack, not a true Four Amigos fan if you're not willing to sit in a 2 hour live stream and enjoy it. So the live streams are weird. I made the channel and I thought, okay, because here was the catalyst to making the channel. I was in the BiggerPockets Facebook groups, the real estate rookie groups, and a few others answering questions. And originally I got kicked in the teeth and I realized I don't know stuff. Why am I answering this question? So I realized only answer the stuff I've actually done. And no, I've never used an FHA. I just knew I preferred conventional. So the first time I talked about that, somebody called me out and I was like, oh, I guess I don't know the details. I just know I made a decision. So then, yes, I took the time to educate myself on this long list of reasons why I don't want to use FHA and why I use conventional. And now I can answer that kind of question. So the things that I have done, I will talk about. But it was almost always the same question, right? Should I have an LLC? Because I'm thinking of getting a rental. That's my favorite question. How much in reserves, right? All those things. So I started answering the questions. And then I have in my notes, I have copy and paste answers so I can give an accurate, fully detailed, really quick answer to some questions. But then people would click on it and reach out and ask for clarification. I'm like, okay, now I'm interacting with 350 people in a week for questions because I'm trying to help people. Why don't I make a video? And when somebody asks a question, I send them a link to the video. It answers everything. It goes into detail. Those videos usually take 10 to 20 minutes. And so that was going to be my channel. I thought always 10 to 20 minutes. That's kind of the videos I tend to watch unless I'm on a long drive. And then I started doing live streams. And the way live streams work is for the first 30 minutes, YouTube doesn't share it with very many people. So those live streams that I do that you see that are like 10 to 15 minutes long, during the live, there's like 30 people at the most. They get views after it's over. So on Tuesdays, I think the number starts off around, 15 to 30, and then at about the 30-minute mark, it jumps up to like we have now, over 70 people here. So the 2 hours is for those people that want the longer content. It's harder to say this is a 2 hour live on this subject because at 43 minutes, we covered this topic, right? Sure, there's an AI thing where I could break down the show notes and start doing that. I should probably look into that. But I tend to make specific videos for the shorter answered, questions that need to be answered shorter. But I like these long versions because you get the most important thing to me as a new investor. When you're watching the Lumberjack Live on Sundays at 8:30 Pacific, it goes on for an hour and a half, or I'm here on Tuesdays, you can ask a question and you get to see what an investor keeps in their top of mind awareness, right? If you ask me a super detailed CPA question, I'm probably going to say, well, let's check with the CPA, right? But because I don't have to know, I just know that depreciation is amazing. Levered depreciation means I haven't had to pay any rental income tax yet in a decade, even with hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in profit. So I look forward to having to pay taxes because that means that I made so much stupid money that I'm giving some to the government. I'm sure they'll do amazing things with it. But when you ask things of an investor during a live stream, this is the stuff that lets me make a 10-second decision looking at a rental, whether I'm going to keep looking or whether I'm going to pass. And like Matt's video, when we look at it tonight during the members only live at 6 o'clock, we're going to go through the whole process and it'll, at a minimum, it's probably going to take 45 minutes. And I'm not talking about the things that Matt plans on doing with it and how he's going to optimize and all that. He's going to share that too. I mean, just the deal. Understanding when you're looking at the map, what were you considering? when you look at the physical aspects of the property, because math is an aspect of it, but there's all these other things we're going to go through. That happens, I want to say in nanoseconds, but it happens in such a short period of time. It takes 45 minutes to explain it, but seconds to process it. The more you watch stuff like this and you hear questions that someone else asks, and you hear, I just have an answer for most of these questions. And yeah, I can be stumped because I don't know everything. And there's some stuff I still have to look up. I watch Matt's channel. I learn from everything he ever puts out. He's helped me, I hate it, do better at this Burr because I don't want to do it again. But I'm like, wow, this made a lot of money. That was a fake. I'm considering it face, in case you were wondering. I can fake facial expressions. It's worked out great for me in life. I'm going to change the subject. Oh, I see somebody said, hi, Beth. Did I miss a Beth comment? Beth, howdy. Hope you're having a week full of awesome. Jada, so 10K is a good amount for my first rental. 10,000 is what I kept until I had about 7 units. So I'm trying to think of, there are factors that can make you need more. What strategy are you using? How risky is it? How confident are you in your projected rents that you're going to need to get? How much work have you put in? But at least 10, I would. And this is the part I think, Jada, that some people don't like to hear. If you can't save $10,000, don't buy a rental. You're not magically going to be able to learn how to save once you have the rental. We don't get a bunch of money and then become good with saving. We learn how to save when we're not making much. And as we get more and more income, saving gets easier, but you have to be good at it when you don't have a lot. I would focus on getting that 10,000 in reserves along with the down payment and money for closing costs and immediate repairs. All nighter, I do not a spider fan. Then how are you a handyman? Because every space you have to go into is like this. When we went in the basement, that spider looked at me and said, "Excuse me." It's like, got a full monkey suit, face mask, and everything to go in places where there's spiders. And I want to take like duct tape the wrists and ankles. Dion from John, where you purchased 25% down on all but the Burr. So the first duplex was 5% down. So the single family house I purchased before I was an investor, right around 2000, I got paid $1,200 to buy the house. So it was zero down, 104% of the loans from wrapped closing costs into it, adjustable rate mortgage. So again, I'm really sorry. Frank and I caused the 2008 housing crash because we had adjustable rate loans. That was purchased as a house. I refinanced it so I can give my ex her portion of the equity. It's great. And then you find out about $89,000 in bad debt in your name. Careful what you make videos about. If you make a video about investing at a distance in Gary, Indiana, or investing in Gary, Indiana, Millennium Mike's going to pop in. If you look up videos on the lumberjack landlord course or how to manage 100 plus units, you're going to find the lumberjack landlord channel. If you look up 89, just Google, go to a clean tab and type in $89,000 in bad debt. That's what I'm known for. Yay. John, so it was 0, 5%, then 20% for the fourplex because it was owner occupied. The rest were 25. Saving the money got easier. I wasn't better at saving later. It just got easier because you had more passive, more cash flow coming in. And then you just have to control your expenses. Dividend Day, what was the best part about your Burr, the worst? The best part about the Burr. How can I say this without sounding like a douchebag? It's probably not possible. It's the wrong bottle. Water, I mean, water. The best part is how it came out. I'm floored by the flooring. But just I've done a couple of other tenant moves out, that same color scheme, white trim. I use Sherwin-Williams. It's called silver, but it's a gray paint in pretty much every rental. That's LVP flooring. Um, Replaced all the electric with the square because it was a gut to the studs, right? It's all new drywall. Opened up the space compared to what it was, right? I'm gonna make a video, so I'm probably gonna have Millennium Mike help me because he's better at editing, and I'm gonna put like kind of before and after. Here's the kitchen, here's the kitchen, here's the front room, here's the whatever, here's the murder basement, and here's the whatever. Um, that's the best part. It's just I paid. And it's not about the money. It's about it. So a ton of people came to tour it. Partly because it's right on the water, has a great view, but because some people came, they said, I saw the countertops that were from Lumberjack's course, like the butcher block countertops. They're like, this is why I'm here. I saw these. I want this kitchen. A couple people to view, a couple people saw the pictures, like a ton of interest because of the way it looks. Like that's the best part. Worst part, my goal in 2023 was to spend the winter of 2023 to 2024 in Thailand, right? So I purchased this place in June, July of 2023. And, 3 to 6 months to be done, right around the middle of winter, I could be done and then take off and spend the rest of the winter in Thailand, which is a great place to be for me in Thailand. Lower Thailand, down in like, I don't, Koh Tao is more like where I want to be than Khao Phanong. Khao Phanong's a little more tourist. I do go there for the 3-day full moon party. If you go to Thailand, I recommend you go to Khao Phanong for that. But for those 3 days, you go there. But then the rest of the time, I want to be on Koh Tao. Better scuba diving. Used to be a prison island, so you can actually dive where the submerged structures are that you're not supposed to go in. And of course, we never have. Um, but no, my happy butt got to sit here and wait for this city, thank you very much, city, to approve this permit, to delay this process, to whatever. So the worst part is it cost me a winter of travel. Is that worth $300,000? Would you give up a winter of travel for $300,000? Because here you go. While I've done it as a learning experience, I would not do it again. It's not my thing. Brandon. And then my chat moved, but I saw Brandon. I'm going to go back up till I see it. Howdy, I have some duplexes that have adjusted. Should I refi into fixed or just wait till better days? Luckily, I am good enough to cash flow still. They're already adjustable rate. Do you have, so I'm a fan of fixed rate debt, fire and forget, never think about it again. But if you did it, fixed adjustable rate mortgages, some of them now are different than they were in 2007, 2006. In 2007, my rate adjusted, and it can go from 6% to 1,000%. There was no limit to the percent increase, right? Now they're generally, so check with your lender. What is the maximum allowable increase to this over the next year? Is it a 1, 2%? Is it 1 or 2 increases? Figure out what kind of loan you have. And if it went worst case scenario with what those limits are, what would your cash flow look like? Then I might wait for rates to come down and be happy where it's at. If you have the ability for rates to go so high with that adjustable rate, then I'd look at refinancing to fixed rate debt. I buy the rate down because I plan on never refinancing or never selling. I will refinance if rates come low enough to increase cash flow. Then I just eat the cost of whatever buying the rate down was last time. But that's how I look at it. Did I answer you clear enough? What type of loan do you have? Confirm with your lender. If it doesn't go nuclear with that type of loan, leave it alone. If it can go nuclear, look at fixed rate debt. They're more concise. Jada, thanks, Lumberjack. I haven't got it yet. I'll have to be patient and wait to build up 10,000 reserves. It starts slow. It's boring. It's not sexy. Then it becomes sexy AF. It passes the Monte Cristo test. Now that how to Jada, the reserves don't have to be cash, could just be access to quick cash, can be creative as long as it's for sure. Yes. Jack, there was a power plant, one of the dirtiest coal power plants in the country that shut down and was torn down within 2 months. The house value went up 50,000 on average. So the people who knew the year before it was going down that purchased a couple of houses, like I purchased my duplex next to that mushroom farm, or I purchased a duplex next to a Navy base that's growing that I actually didn't know about. That's just a perk. But the people that purchased here because they knew that was happening, like my friend Kent that was looking at a place. Then we did a members only and we deal dupe dove that. But then now let's factor in what's going to happen to rents because of that shit. That could change whether that was a good deal or not. Marina, howdy. Good to see you here. Question on VA loans. I know there's a way to use it more than once, recycle eligibility, but I'm struggling to get good info on a Google search. How's it done? You contact a lender. So I think I recommended Spencer to you. If not, I'll connect them to you. And you say, I have a VA loan. This is how much money I've used because you have a certain amount of eligibility. Now, there is no limit to VA loans, no credit requirement. There's a bunch of things that lenders might have misinformation on. So you want to check, even if you talk with Spencer, who's amazing, he's done what, 4 or 5 for me? 7 if you count refinances. So I have faith in his abilities, but I would check, on trust but verify. Yes. So Marina, if you are a veteran, meaning you're no longer active duty and you're using your VA loan, when you go to use it again, you have a loan origination fee that can increase up to like 3%. It's 2.5 or 3 or 3.5. It's one of those numbers. Verify because my memory is not perfect. And I have not used my VA loan for a couple of reasons. Let me know if you want to know why. If you have a service-connected disability of 10% or more, then the loan origination fee stays at 0. And you have a certain amount of eligibility, your lender will confirm how much eligibility you have. Some lenders look at it like an FHA loan and they go, okay, tell me why. So when you move, it's because the current place I'm in only has 1 bedroom in my unit. The new one has 2. I need a home office. It's closer to work. It's in a better school district. Whatever the reason is, they might ask you those questions. It's not supposed to be a requirement, but lenders can do whatever they want. Let me know what Spencer says, because that's a good question. Because that's a very detailed thing to be able to use it more than once. And a lot of veterans, first, some veterans think it's a VA loan, which means veterans, so I can't use it till I'm out. Not true. You can use it while you're in. And they think I can only use it once or only have one at a time, and that's not true either. Sam, howdy. I just used the binder strategy this past week on a lease renewal with a current tenant. It was so smooth and everyone walked away feeling like they got a good deal. That is why the binder strategy is free, because it helps landlords and investors, right? But it helps the tenants. What tenant's ever been involved in the conversation of setting their rents? What tenant ever left the meeting of a massive rent increase, thanking their landlord for agreeing to it? So if you go to diontalk.com/binder, you can also book an hour with me there. I have an hour tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. You can sign up for the course there, which right now is, so here's the thing on the course. This reminds me of that. So the binder course is free, and that's my intention to keep it free, even though it costs me like $400 a month to have the stupid thing up there for everybody. So take it before my brain kicks in and I take it down. And that's the monthly. That didn't kick into the annual things that renew too. It was either Mighty Networks or ClickFunnels, or one of them had an annual $1,200 bill that came in last month. I was like, oh, what's that? That's fun. But the binder course, the free binder course, tells you when to use it, how to use it, how to do it with Section 8 property management at a distance, like all of the nuances of it that wouldn't fit into a YouTube video or keep someone's attention. But you can go take each video and see your percentage of completion, or go back to the specific part for whatever you're dealing with currently. But the course on how to reach financial freedom for the lazy person right now, the cost is, I think, $445. So it's come down. And for the entire month of May, we're doing course videos Tuesdays at 6 after the live streams. So members only for May will be 2, and it will be on Saturdays. We'll move those around for the members to be able to get to them. Can't make it here on a Tuesday. But the course videos for May are going to be at 6 p.m. Pacific. And so if you are in the course, we'll see you there. We all jump on Zoom and we go deep into portfolios to figure out what the next best move for you is. But congratulations, Sam, on using the binder. That's awesome. Wombat Striker. Yes, there's a certain amount of eligibility that you have for the VA loan. My current residence was under 2,000 and my eligibility is over 500,000 in this area. It is kind of county specific, like FHA. It's your eligibility that has a limit, not the VA loan. You embrace the fear all nighter hider. I just make sure there's no cameras on me when I scream like a little kid. Janitor on fire. Spiders and liberals. Exactly. At least you get in trouble if you kill spiders. Wombat Striker, if you have a qualifying life event like getting married, having a child, or moving, you can keep the old residence and move to a new one. I'm not an expert, but hopefully that helps at least a little, Marina. Yeah, so FHA needs the qualifying life event. The VA you can actually just use again. It doesn't have the same restrictions as FHA, but lenders might. So Wombat Striker's right. Think of a life event that could make you need it in case you run into that lender that says stuff that might not even be true. You're not going to educate a lender. You're not going to change their mind. It's their company policy, not the specific broker's opinion. All nighter higher putting flooring down. I should show you pictures of the flooring that I just put in. This doing stuff is stupid. I need to start traveling. Jeffrey White. Thanks, Dion, for being consistently awesome, promoting the power of financial freedom through the power of leverage through RE investing. And I am going to do this because Jeff's here. And I don't know if Jeff was here at the beginning of the show, but thank you for the shirt, Jeff. This is from Jeff and Suleika. This is, you don't know the Count of Monte Cristo? Read. Dumas. Alexander Dumas, the author, wrote that. Thank you very much for the shirt. It's much appreciated. And it actually gave me the reason for this video. You should check out, if you are watching this, PTO for Life. Maybe one of the moderators of the channel can throw a link to that into the chat for people who want to go and quickly subscribe to check out much better edited videos than what I do from a serial house hacking couple who are collectively two balls of energy. I don't know where you guys get the energy. Just remember when Meet Kevin first started doing his videos and he had all the energy for his videos, everybody was saying, well, he must be doing cocaine. So you guys should share. And thank you for the super chat, Jeff. It is much appreciated. Jack, I thought Dion was going to say the best part of the Burr is being done with it so I can go on vacation. That's pretty much so I can travel. It's over. It's that. But also being able to travel was something that did come out really well based on a lot of the recommendation from Matt's course. Wombat Striker, I've been told some lenders may not ask for proof of qualifying event as long as, yep, exactly. There you go. Jack Stewart, the murder basement is my favorite Dion episode. I'm sort of surprised we didn't find, like, you know, unalived things there. Dennis, like the skull mug. Thank you. This is, I actually tie this to my waist in case you didn't know this about me, I am a pirate minister, Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, and I do weddings for free in Washington. So if you live in Washington or pay for travel, I will come and do your wedding for you. And this is the mug that I serve the toast in. You just have to be okay with a pirate doing your wedding. Howdy, JNYC. Brandon, yes, thanks. The rate can go semi-nuclear. They shouldn't raise anymore unless the Fed raises again. So that means it sounds like you're at the whim of the Fed. So, Samuel, howdy. I have not used my VA loan as good as it is. I may not work every aggressive investment strategy, but VA loans are a good product for those that want to break in but don't have much saved. They are a good strategy for a few reasons. They do have some drawbacks, right? You have to have some discipline. Do you want to be 100% levered? It's a little harder to get sellers to accept the VA loan. And the reason I want my VA loan non-used, one of the main reasons is it's in my back pocket. And let's say I did this Burr, I'm down to my reserves, and I have like, I don't know, however much money in the account. Let's say it got down to zero, but other than reserves, and the best deal ever pops up. Sure, I'm VA loan, go buy it because it's an option. The less you put down, the less likely you will cash flow. True. That's one of the many reasons I do not use it. If it was a single and younger, might just getting started now, I might. Exactly. There we go. Cool. I believe, Mandy, Ramen, may you be touched by his noodly goodness. Or her. We don't judge. You're turning in from commuting in terrible Seattle traffic. Don't do that. Blech. What would ever make somebody be in Seattle? Kris, I need to retire just to be available when these start. Hey, howdy to y'all. Howdy. It will be here in Futureland as well. If there are no further questions, Jamie, howdy. Good to see you here. I hope you are having a life full of awesome in Florida. Traveling, you've been traveling a lot lately, so it's good to see that. Traveling looks good on you. If there are any other questions, I'm going to give it another minute. If not, I'm going to be done until 6 o'clock tonight for the members only live stream. I hope to see you there tonight. Remember, the lumberjack landlord is sharing the details of his most recent deal with us. How he found it, how he funded it, what he looked at the market, what he looked at the physical aspects, and what his plans are with it. All coming out tonight. Thank you all very much for hanging out with me on a Tuesday for this live stream. Remember, before you retire early, consider the Monte Cristo test, because it is top shelf. I would say one of the top 4 reasons why I retired early. Until my next video, thanks for coming to my Dion Talk.